Hello, Igniting Community. I'm Doris Forster, and I'm back with another global population and gender talk. When I was trying to decide on the focus for the month of July, I kept coming back to a discussion I was having with, or I had with my IB geography class around a leaked document that came out of the U.S. Supreme Court. And in that leaked document, the suggestion was that in June of 2022, they would hand down a ruling that would essentially overturn the 1973 Roe versus Wade ruling that gave women the federal constitutional right to an abortion. And they would place that decision into the hands of the individual states. Another decision within this ruling would be to uphold the state of Mississippi's ban on abortions after 15 weeks. And within this discussion, I was angry, but I kept coming back to what impact is this going to have on women in the U.S.? What impact is this going to have on women in the U.S.? Is this going to have impact on women in Canada, where I live? Is this going to have impact on women around the world? And so that's going to be my focus for the month of July. This is not going to be a pro-life, pro-choice discussion or debate. I'm not here to make anyone feel that their opinions are not valuable or not valid. Everybody has the right to believe what they want to believe, but this is purely based on what impact I think this is going to have, and I think it's going to have a huge impact. And a lot of gains that women have made are going to be stopped, and maybe we're going to see decreases. And when I looked at the Sustainable Development Goal talks, maternal mortality, reproductive health were part of the goals, and now we're seeing that perhaps this law is going to not make those goals achievable. So when this leaked document came out, I saw a video on the internet, and I wish I would have saved it. And there was a gentleman, he was talking about it, and essentially what he said was that this overturning of Roe versus Wade is not about saving lives. Because if it was, the U.S. would have stricter gun control laws. He said some other things, but I'm not going to share them here. And then I saw this photograph of this poster. As a girl, I just hope that one day I have as many rights as a gun. And this resonated with me because I thought, maybe this doesn't seem right to me. And then I got a picture, and I wanted to see who these Supreme Court judges were. And then I noticed that there were 6 males and 3 females. And I thought that was very unfair that we have 6 males, more than women on this panel of 9, making a decision about women's reproductive health, making decisions about whether a woman can obtain an abortion, has the right to obtain an abortion or not. And they can never get pregnant, nor would they ever have to make a decision about ending a pregnancy, and have to go through the mental turmoil or the emotional turmoil of it having to come to that decision. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to look at the World Health Organization and see what their view is. So they define health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And they're saying that it's not merely not having a disease or not having some infirmity. It's these 3 things that are essential: being physically well, mentally well, and socially well. And in order to achieve that, it requires that all individuals, so that's men, women, and children, have access to quality health care. And a lot of the Sustainability Development Goals are about health care and disease and preventing those things. But the World Health Organization is saying that this also includes comprehensive abortion care services, which then supports the goals around reproductive health and maternal mortality. So when, to achieve this comprehensive abortion care services, it has to include information management, so educating women management of the abortion, and post-abortion care. And what they're saying is that if women lack access to safe, timely, affordable, and respectful abortion, it poses a risk to not only their physical well-being, but their mental and social well-being of women and girls. And that women and girls should not have, not be restrictive in accessing abortion. They also state that when carried out using the methods that they recommend, appropriate to the duration of the pregnancy and by someone that is trained, it is a safe healthcare intervention. And it's only when people with unintended pregnancies, so they weren't expecting to get pregnant, and they want to put an end to that pregnancy for whatever reason, if they're not able to attain a safe, timely, affordable, geographically reachable, respectful, and non-discriminatory abortion, they often resort to unsafe abortions. And for me, being a geography teacher, I did focus on the geographically reachable, and I'm looking at states that are, are going to ban abortion, and the women that are in those states. And it's women with means, with economic means, with money, will be able to travel to the states that where they can obtain a legal abortion. Women that are from lower socioeconomic backgrounds will not be able to do that, and they will resort to the unsafe abortions. So maybe they can't get a day off work, and they have childcare issues. Just the cost of transportation, how many days away, how long it will take. These are barriers that go beyond it being safe, timely, affordable. Well, right? And then they're going to go to an unsafe abortion. And that's where you're going to see maternal mortality and illnesses increase. So then I looked at some global facts. So there's the estimate that there's 121 million pregnancies every year, and about half of those are unintended, so they're not planned. And each year, 73 induced abortions will take place worldwide. So this is sort of on average what happens every year. And out of those 73 million induced abortions, 6 out of 10 or 61%, or 3 out of 10 of all of all pregnancies, or 29%, will end in an induced abortion. So with those 73 million, 45% of those, so 1 in 2, are unsafe, and 97% of those take place in the developing world. So if we have a law change, like an overturning of Roe versus Wade, which gives women the federal constitutional right to an abortion, being overturned, it puts them at risk of going towards or going for an unsafe abortion because of the barriers that they face. That number is going to go up for the developed world for sure. Unsafe abortion is one of the leading causes of maternal deaths and morbidities. And what's really frustrating is that it's totally preventable. There is no reason why a woman has to die because of an unsafe abortion when there are safe means of ending a pregnancy. And here's just a quick visual of just those numbers that I've said. 1 out of 3 unsafe abortions occur in the worst conditions with untrained personnel and using dangerous methods. And this is what we saw in the 60s. Or not me, but I wasn't around, or I was very little. But this is what was happening to women around the world where abortions were not legal. This visual I like. It's investing in sexual and reproductive health, and we know that these are sustainability development goals from the United Nations, and they would dramatically reduce unintended pregnancies, unsafe abortions, and maternal deaths. Where I'm going to tell you to focus is on these numbers, because this is at current levels what we see in terms of unintended pregnancy, unsafe abortion, and maternal deaths. If everyone's needs are met, this is what will be averted. And this one is big, 186,000 women will not lose their lives because of unsafe abortions. So each year, between 5% and 13% of maternal deaths are due to unsafe abortions. And look at the difference between the developed world and the developing world. And the difference is women have access to safe, affordable abortions by trained individuals. And this is why we only have 30 women for every 100,000 unsafe abortions that actually end up dying versus 220. So the evidence shows that if you restrict access to abortion, it does not reduce the number of abortions. What it does is that it forces women to obtain unsafe abortions. And the proportion or the percentage of unsafe abortions are significantly higher in countries with highly restrictive abortion laws than countries with less. And it makes sense, right? If a woman can, not easily, but the barriers are not there, they will go the route of the safe abortion. If it's really difficult for them to get an abortion, then they're going to go the unsafe route. And here you can look at barriers to accessing safe and respectful abortions include the cost is huge, stigma's there, some healthcare professionals will not perform the abortions, some of the restrictive laws will include criminalization, waiting periods, biased information and counseling, having different authorizations that are needed, and what facilities can perform the services and to whom. And I just look at this coming out of the WHO. Removing barriers to abortion protects women's life, health, and human rights. It's right there. So why a country would, or a court would overturn a law that has removed the barriers and protecting women, I can't understand it. So I needed to look at what was going on globally before I could look at the United States. So here we have 11 countries that have restricted women's access to abortion. And you can see, like, in the Western Hemisphere, it's a few countries in Central America and one in the Caribbean and then the United States. And then we've got some countries in the former Soviet era, Russia, and the Middle East and North Korea. And here we have 59 countries that have expanded abortion access. Doesn't mean there's no barriers in place. It just means they've expanded women's ability to get an abortion under different circumstances. And when we look on this map, it's just showing all the countries together and which countries in blue have legalized with no change since 1980. So it's legal, but there hasn't been a change. Illegal in most cases with no change, increased access, and then decreased abortion access. So the ones in red have actually decreased the access for women. As of May 2022, here we can see the ones in dark green, women request. The ones in light green on social or economic grounds. The ones in the white, the light orange to preserve health. The ones in the darker orange to save a woman's life. And then these are the only countries where it is prohibited. And when we look here, we can see that the annual abortion rate has actually declined significantly in the developed regions, but not the developing region. And then in this visual, you can see that safe abortions, where it's more restrictive, we see less safe abortions, obviously, and then a higher percentage of less and the least safe abortion methods, which leads to an increase in mortality and illnesses for women. Here, estimated rates of unintended pregnancy are highest in Latin America, and here we're looking at unintended pregnancy ending in abortion and unintended pregnancy ending in an unplanned birth or a miscarriage. Okay, and in North America, lowest levels than any of the regions in the world. And that most of those unintended pregnancies, higher rate, are actually the babies are being born or there's a miscarriage. In this visual, unintended pregnancy and abortion occurs across all country income groups. And here we're going to look at the difference between high income, low income, and middle income. And you can see that the the high income have the lower rates of abortion because women have access to that. And then I'm going to come back to this and look at who actually voted. And we can see that out of this, 1 woman and 4 men voted to overturn. This Chief Justice John Roberts voted, favors upholding Mississippi's restrictions, but doesn't favor overturning Roe versus Wade. But there you have it. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 3, and then this individual or this judge voted to uphold. So that's the situation. And I'm going to be back for part 2.